Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sean Andrew, back with another review. This time we'll be talking about Desperate Housewives, Season 8, Episode 10, What's to Discuss? Old Friend. We continue with Bree getting ready to kill herself in the hotel room, just then as Renee bursts in through the door, thinking that she's sleeping with Ben. She sees the gun on the table, reads the note, and gives her kind of that look like, really? This is what you're going to do? I think that would have to be very troubling for anybody to witness someone getting ready to kill themselves. So that's disturbing in its own self. The next morning, we have Renee is actually cooking breakfast for Bree, and she's decided to move in. Already got her bags packed and everything. And just around that time, she then gets a text message and tells Bree of some bad news about Detective Vance. We come to learn that he was in a hit and run and has died. We change over to Lynette and Tom, who are in the kitchen talking about charges. Tom is still extremely upset. He makes a funny comment about how out of the group she's supposed to be like the smart one and should have been better at dealing with this. Which, I mean, your friend's having trouble, you're helping them out, even if it is hiding a body apparently. As he gets ready to leave with the kids to go to school, there's a radio that plays some news reports, and one of the things are about Detective Vance, and that's how she finds out. We then go over to Gaby, who's arguing with the male nurse on the whereabouts of Carlos, because apparently he just up and left, which she still doesn't understand that they have the freedom to check out whenever they choose to. The TV is playing where she's at, and that's how she finds out about Detective Vance. But now we go over to Susan. Susan's actually getting ready to leave. She's putting her stuff into a cab, and then she starts arguing with Mike. They make their way back inside, and the girls stop by to tell her the news. As everyone is kind of having a slight sigh of relief, the girls are then starting to question the timing of it all, and if it was really a hit and run, or if someone was murdered. Which now leads to more arguing between Susan and Mike, because this does not sit well with her. She does not like the thought of someone going out and now killing a person because of her. So, at the precinct, Gaby learns that the whole department knows about Bree being a bitch and pretty much breaking Detective Vance's heart. She also learns that the cop knows that it's not a hit and run because there were no skid marks. Now, I want to make a little side comment for somebody who has been in a hit and run, more of my car than me. Sometimes there wouldn't be any skid marks because the person who hit me changed gears and kept on driving. So it wasn't like something where like, oh, if I hit a person, I'm going to stop. People who've been in driving accidents, not all of them stop. As soon as it happens, there is that kind of wake up call. Hey, I can't believe this happened. I'm not going to stop. I don't have any insurance, or this isn't my car, or I'm drunk. So there wouldn't be skid marks at every scene. But then again, I guess, maybe that's just how a cop looks at certain things, and not even saying the idea was bad itself. So anyway, back to the story. As Gaby then returns home, she finds Carlos drunk in the bed. She questions him about the hit and run situation. He doesn't really remember anything at all. He knows in general that he has nothing to do with it. She says, okay, well, that's fine. We can check out the car. That way we can easily tell if you had anything to do with it because there will be damage. They go to the garage. They can't find the car. Now we're at Lynette's house, and during this time, she finds out two things. One, that Tom has told Bob about the whole situation. With Detective Vance now being gone, realize it's not really necessary, but he was just doing what I think it was a very kind and husband thing to do. Hey, look, my ex or my separated spouse was in some type of murder cover up. Let's talk to a lawyer, try to figure this stuff out. Makes total sense, but as we find out, it's not really necessary to do so. They then also, the second thing is they come up to a conclusion about something after Bree stops by. They figure that someone else must know about what happened. That except for the person who also wrote the letter. I would agree with that thought. I would definitely see how they could come to that conclusion because the girls, they do a lot of talking, and some of them have done it in public places. Like at the gallery, they're bringing up certain comments. Like, I'm surprised they didn't get caught alone just by people walking past. So that part makes total sense to me. But we then move on to what I figure is like the second important part of this whole episode. Renee finds Bree drinking, laying out on the couch, and she gets more of a shocker than she planned because Bree kind of goes in on her and tells her that we aren't really friends. Like, yes, you saved my life, and for that I'll be grateful, but we're very cordial. I've been to your house, you've been to my house, but I don't look at you as a friend. We're friendly, but I can't say we're friends. Now, after somebody who just saved your life, like, ouch, right? That's just kind of painful. But then was even more of a very interesting thing to hear. Renee then blasts back, not so much about not being a friend, but that she refuses to have this situation happen again. Definitely telling she's referring to Bree trying to commit suicide. So they then go to the scene where they're at the funeral, and there's a little spark of hope between Tom and Lynette. She offers him to come over for a movie night with the kids, which I do like their couple. I do like them as a couple. Like, out of everyone else, those two to me, they really do have that down. Then we go over to Susan, who's had some type of weird breakthrough after talking to Detective Vance's aunt, then flagging down Gaby to confirm an alias name that her stepfather had. And then with Gaby and Carlos, they had a slight issue with one of the cops, because then we find out that Carlos stumbled into the station drunk, talking about he wanted to confess about hitting someone with a candlestick. Gaby then makes a comment with, "Oh, no, that was me." "Oh, so your husband hit you?" "Well, yeah, but that's because I hit him with the bat." Like, that part I thought was really funny. It's the comedy in this is very well done. They definitely don't overdo it, and that really fit Gaby's personality and how she act. I thought that was perfectly played. But then they get a bit serious when they go over to Bree and Renee sitting at one of the areas next to the body, and she asked her, "So what happened?" And Bree learns that it was Renee's mother who tried to kill herself, and she stopped her. But the second time, she wasn't so lucky. So that then leads Bree to opening up about Mary Alice and how when she had killed herself, the hole it had left in everybody else's life. Starting to realize that when you kill yourself, it is a bit selfish. There are a lot of people who want you to be around, but when it's all said and done, that is your personal decision. So I'm kind of torn on where to fully lie on that situation. But between those two characters, I can definitely say they've probably built a friend bridge now more than ever. We go over to Gaby and Carlos as they're getting ready for bed later on, and we learn that the car was left at the precinct. Gaby confesses that she loves Carlos, which I thought was great to hear, because you never really hear them say that if it's not dealing in between a bottle of champagne. But to genuinely just hear them say it, or hear her say it, the music is right and everything just seems to work. It was a good feeling. But then Gaby shows a little bit of an evil side. She tells Carlos, point blank period, "If you ever go to the cops and confess something and don't run it by me first, there will be 2 bodies buried in the wood next time." I have no idea where this came from. This is so odd, because we've heard Gaby be direct sometimes, but not to the point of boldface threatening Carlos to be in the ground, that wasn't played by some type of happy music. This was definitely very serious, because she lays back down and goes to sleep, and Carla has this like odd look on his face. So I wonder how they're going to continue to play that, and if that's going to cause any ripple between their relationship. Later over at Lynette's house, Tom already started off the movie night on a rough foot. He brought Old Yeller as the movie, and he forgot to bring thin crust pizza afterwards. Lynette was a little bit perturbed by this, and that kind of starts off a very bigger level of understanding these characters, because Lynette starts again making her comments about Jane, saying that Jane must be angry, and Tom's like, "No, she's not." "Oh yes, she is. She's probably got a voodoo with my name on it, dropping it off some building." And Tom again, "No, she's not. She's not like you. She doesn't get angry like that. She lets it roll off her back." And Lynette makes the most biggest thing I ever, she made the most biggest comment that helped me to truly understand their relationship. She says, sometimes it feels like you don't really care about me because I've asked you for 23 years to get me thin crust and you never remember to bring it. Hearing that, can you imagine for 23 years telling someone to bring you thin crust and they keep bringing you pan pizza? Like, yeah, after a while, I figure there's no point of me talking. But through all these years, the time Tom has gotten upset and felt like he's been degraded by her, if she did ask for this stuff, if she did say these things, and you just seem to still go off and do your own stuff, yeah, I'd argue with you too. Like, you know, but when he had that look in his eye, she was just like, well, does she make you happy? And, he said she does. So then I think this is her breaking point where she just says, you should go to Paris with her. And that to me seemed more of a sound like, okay, you're not going to bring me my thin crust. You're dating this other woman. Go be with her if she makes you happy. I love that part. I thought that was one of the best parts in the whole episode. Finally, we close off with Mike being awakened by Susan, who's trying to leave again. And Susan decides she has to go to Omaha to make sure that the stepfather's family is okay. Because to her, she looks at it as bad as the stepfather may have been with Gaby, that it's not the family's fault. They at least deserve to know something. So she's heading out that way. And the official closing scene is with Bree receiving another letter, only stating, "You're welcome." Now, I can't wait to find out whoever this person is. I think that's going to be a very good breaking point in the series. I hope it's not somebody too obvious, though. I hope they do kind of push it outside of the box. This is the final season. Let's end it off with a good bang. So my name's Sean Andrew, the TV show review. This has been on Desperate Housewives, Season 8, Episode 10. What's to discuss, old friend? See ya.